Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host and sister friend, Shatia T. Owsley, and thank you for watching and or listening. So sit back, grab some tea and a notebook, and let's vibe together as we have organic and practical conversations embracing intuitive womb wisdom, spirituality, and a sprinkle of magic to rebel, restore, and radiate overall wellness in our lives.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I am your host and your sister friend, Shatia T. Owsley, and today we are joined by a beautiful womb shaman, comedic yoga instructor, a level 2 Reiki practitioner. She is also a birth and postpartum doula, and she is a childbirth educator and deeply intuitive guide who supports women in reclaiming the power of their wombs, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. She holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, and she spent 2 decades rising through the ranks of the commercial real estate industry, operating in high achieving divine masculine energy. But in 2020, everything shifted. The sudden loss of her beloved mother became a portal, cracking open the layers of her being and awakening her sacred path as a healer, a guide, and a spiritual teacher. Today, she weaves ancient wisdom with modern science to provide perinatal assistance to her clients, as well as support deep womb-rooted transformation. Her work is not only just about fertility or childbirth, it's about helping women shed what no longer serves them, to cleanse the womb space of inherited trauma, unresolved grief, and generational burdens. Today, I would like to introduce our guest, Miss Angel Brown. Hello,
Hello.
ma'am.
Hi, Katia.
How are you?
I'm doing great, and you?
I'm doing well.
Mhm.
And so, if you don't mind, talk us through what started you on your path once everything happened after the loss of your mom.
So, when in hindsight, I realized that from the time of our birth, we're always on a journey. We're always on an awakening journey and so I'll just say it kicked into high gear once my mom passed. Right before COVID, it was in January. It was a shock. She had issues, but it wasn't anywhere near where we were thinking that she would pass. So at this point, I'm still in commercial real estate, working like crazy, working like a workhorse, but loving what I do, but also again, just go, and I'm a single mom, or I was a single mom. I'm an empty nester kind of now. I had a niece and a nephew, and um they were school aged. So I'm, running around with them to their activities and doing my job as well. So when mom passed, that slowed me down a lot. Everything became surreal. Everything that seemed important, it, it took a back seat.
Mhm.
I would look around me and begin to question. And not only that, COVID happened, protest. I specifically remember the George Floyd. So I'm a manager of a 1.2 million square foot commercial building in the Loop. When those protests happened, we had about $4,000 worth of damage to our building, and I had a Starbucks in there, a Chase. I mean, this is a high profile building, I must say. Um, yeah, so now I'm working on fixing those damages, and we got all kinds of build outs. I just wanted to give you just an insight into where I was mentally. And then so when everything stopped and we had to sit down, COVID made us, we had to go into homes, and I'm there alone with my thoughts. And again, everything, I begin to question everything. Nothing was important. I was almost at a point of, it was like that why. Everything was why. Why am I doing this? Why am I working so hard? Why is life this way? When mom dies, why did she leave me? All these questions begin to arise, but okay, now I'm getting to it. The point is, as I'm asking whys, they were more so external. Why society is this, and why is the church this way? And why I went but then I began to be so much more less distracted with myself that it's like, well, why am I this way? Why do this? Well, why do I always say yes? Why don't I say no? Why do I care so much about what she's doing and what he's doing? And I'm talking about my family because why don't I set boundaries? Why do I feel the need to run and jump all the time? And that's where it began.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is so interesting. I literally, before our call, I was speaking to my mom and she was telling me about some things that were going on, and it was the exact same conversation. And so this was like, I guess, spirit's way of confirming and putting this in alignment, which is why, and this was some family stuff, but why are we so concerned about the external validation, right? That we will run ourselves in the ground. It's to our own detriment instead of pouring into ourselves and those that truly love and care for us and actually pour into to us, knowing that that circle will be extremely small. But it's the quality over the quantity. Most importantly, loving ourselves and being able to give to ourselves just as much as we give to others. And so I feel like that's like a great segue into the work that you do with women. And don't get me wrong, I truly believe that the work that when you start really unpacking it and really talking about it, it's not just women who are struggling with this. There's also men who are struggling with this as well.
Mhm.
But when we are specifically talking about womb work, we automatically think, of women and where our creative space is and what we hold and, the things that we birth, not just children, but our dreams and ambitions and our goals. And when that is blocked, the disservice that we do to ourselves, the light that is truly dimmed within us when we are not able to really show up the way we should be able to in safe and sacred spaces. And so, what is womb alchemy?
Okay. So womb alchemy in a nutshell is transmutation of energies. I just wanted to go back. I heard you speak to men, and I just do want to say that, quickly for women who don't have physical womb spaces anymore, and then for men who also have certain issues that they need to address. I want everyone to know that we all have energetic womb spaces. Actually, men's energetic womb spaces are called haras, Haras. But yes, so this goes for all of us, the collective. But going back to womb alchemy and transmutation of energies. I do want to say that I know what it's like to be disconnected from the womb physically, emotionally, and energetically. And now I know what it's like when we reclaim her. And it's a continual evolving knowing, okay? It's that lotus that continues to open up. But first, it begins with embodiment. And what I mean is, we live in our heads. We tend to live in our heads. We think so much. There's so much going on. Now, going back to women specifically, we think so much. There's so much going on. We overanalyze sometimes, but there's a lot going on, and sometimes we can start to live there. And without getting too mystical, some would even say that our souls float above our heads as opposed to coming down deep into our bodies. Why? Because it doesn't feel safe, because our nervous systems are so jacked up. When I say our nervous systems, I'm simply meaning we're more so in a fight or flight mode within our bodies as opposed to being in a rest and repair mode within our bodies. So I won't get into the two types of nervous systems, that you have. So there's that. And, when you're in that fight or flight mode, it's as simple as this. If someone was about to shoot you, that's going on in your body at the time is the same as when you're stressing about bills or relational issues. It's the same. So your body is it's not in the mode where, oh, I'm relaxed. Oh, there's nothing going on. So let me just deal with that little pain that I'd had. Let me, let my cells go and work that out. Let the lymphatic system work on that. No, because we're always in the survival mode. So that's why they say when you come down into your rest and repair mode, your body can actually heal itself, right? Okay, so going back to embodiment. It's relaxing ourselves, processing, working through things so to the point where we do come. And how do we get to that point of relaxation? My modes are, what I'm teaching is like meditation, sound work, yoga, kinetic yoga, other types of slow flow and things like that, shadow work. So these are various methods, not all, but these are some of the tools that I would use to get us to, it's definitely, I gotta say pranayama though, breath work. These are some of the tools that I'm using to get us to come down into the body. Sometimes you don't want to come down into the body because then you have to feel what you feel. And then you don't want to feel what you feel, you know? And so this is where transmutation starts to come in because then as you get new perspectives on old issues, as you start to pull nutrients out of things that happened, as you no longer cringe at yourself for something that happened 20 years ago, as you no longer judge yourself harshly, as you no longer speak to yourself harshly, that pain turns into joy or alchemy that is about specifically that turning lead into gold, as they say, right? So we work on embodying so that we begin to I will say that, I will say change again, the energies, you know, from happiness to sadness, whatever. And then as you begin to do this within your body, you begin to do this within your environment, you begin to do this within your atmospheres and everywhere you go, you begin to alchemize environments. And I'm unable to hear you again.
There you go. I love that because I think sometimes we need to really understand the work that comes with undoing, relearning all of the stuff that has happened in our lives in order for us to
Mhm.
be the best version of ourselves. I love the fact that you said it's a continuing journey. It is not a destination because once you get to different points in your life, it never ends. It can still be as adventurous and loving and kind and compassionate when you have the right tools in order to help you work through what you have been through and really giving yourself grace to understand the amount of time that it takes to heal, right? It's not an overnight process. And so, again, you reminding us that it is a journey and that you may take a couple steps back, but as long as you're able to stay the course, even when they say, even if you got to crawl through it, right? You're still moving and you're still working towards in an intentional way. I would like to ask you, what have you seen with your clients or just based off of your own experience? What kinds of emotional or ancestral imprints are often stored in the womb?
Well, I see it time and time again. The sexual abuse, it's huge. And it's of, all categories within that, right? And it's the patriarchal conditioning and the self-sacrifice. I would say those are like the top, where the womb gets so closed off. She's so numb. I always I mean, my experience has been I've spiraled now. That's what I call it, the spiral into the womb. That's the sacred return to the womb journey that I offer. I've spiraled into my womb hundreds of times now at this point, and each time she sheds light on something else within. But yeah, I will say those are the top that we deal with.
And so when someone comes to you and with these ancestral imprints, how do you help them to start reconnecting with their womb?
Well, first, we connect. We create that safe space. We connect, and then we do get right to it. There's a learning portion to this. Like we have a Google Class environment where because I want them to have a foundation as to why we're starting to do some of the things that we do. In attempts to connecting with ourselves and with our so we have a learning segment, but then we have live sessions together, virtual sessions where we go ahead and begin to communicate right with our bodies. We do that through the breath. We do that through somatic movement. We do that, and we also do that through definitely journaling. Journaling is huge. There's the guided meditations. That's huge. So after we do some grounding practices, we'll go into a guided meditation. And this is after, we've gotten extremely relaxed and, we're a little bit safe and we're feeling like, okay, we can embody ourselves. We can be present with ourselves. Then we go into the guided meditations. And this is where we're asking questions with no judgment. You know, we're opening up to, we're opening our awareness to the intelligence that is inside of us. We have over 70 trillion cells within our bodies, and they're all alive. The womb is a living organ. And so, sometimes we may go there, the guided meditations may take us there and we just may look around, or sometimes we are asking questions, or sometimes we are just feeling. And then we walk away with sacred assignments that we've given ourselves via this guided meditation. Or sometimes I may give them some prompts. And then we come back and we meet again and we see what's happened over the week that we've been away from each other. Although we're never really losing contact because we also have like a WhatsApp group, of the women who are spiraling together. We're there to edify, encourage, and create again a safe and sacred, non-judgmental space. So you do have that because sometimes things, there's a memory that may come up. There's a feeling. Why? There's some things that, you want to have. And I do say this, before we get into this type of work, you may want to have, first your internal resources, and then you may want to build some external resources. And then you have community with me, with other sisters who are spiraling as well. So you do want to have those resources in place before you begin to go inside.
I want to first say I love how you have redefined spiraling, right? When we usually hear the word spiraling, it is usually spiraling out of control, right? But when I hear it in this context, it is spiraling into or descending into the unknown, rediscovering the unknown
Yes.
space. It reminds me of the story of Anana, right? And going down into the underworld. And in that way, you have to descend and you have to go inward. And it may be dark and it may be scary, but there is healing there. It's a space
Mhm.
that you cultivate and that you create. And once you dig through and remove all the stuff that no longer serves you and no longer belongs, you can continue to spiral, but the spiraling looks different. It is light there. There is growth there. There's opportunity there. There's creativity there. The real version of you is there. So, how would you define womb consciousness and womb wisdom? Because when you're spiraling, you are tapping into wisdom.
I would say it definitely begins with, again, that awareness of the fact that this is more than just a reproductive organ. She is alive. And as you begin to speak to her, she speaks back. And when I say she speaks back, I'm talking again via feeling, memories, other ways. I'm still discovering the ways. But I'll give an example. And then with the womb wisdom, I'll give an example. I believe I wrote a question, what is it that would what would you like me to do that would make you feel more vibrant? Do you want to feel vibrant? And what is it that I could do? And then I just went to sleep on that. And then I woke up and I'm like, celery. Juice some, I juiced the celery and I did it. I juiced the celery and I did it. But then I always go like to see if I can make some connections. And I found, the benefits of the celery for the womb, but wow, that to me is womb wisdom. It is trusting myself, you know? So something like that. Or I can go into an environment and she clenches, And that's interesting in and of itself because I used to, when say I'm in a conference room, I'm working in real estate, and there are some things being said that are just getting under my skin. I didn't realize how much I was clenching her at the time. I was that disconnected that, I'm realizing that I'm tense, but I didn't realize that I'm clenching her. And Okay, I'm just gonna say because so that led to pelvic floor issues. There was an overactive bladder issue, and it was like when I began. So that was something else that I worked through. Just when I stopped doing that, and I was present, and I noticed when I'm doing that, and I'm getting out of whatever is causing me to do that. I'm putting up that boundary. Look, whatever's going on, and I'm moving myself away from that. I got rid of the pelvic floor. Well, yeah, I'll say, they're no longer there. The over matter, the pelvic floor issues. But yeah, so going back to that's the type of womb wisdom that I'm talking about. So if I'm around some person and she starts to clench, okay, we're gonna have to whatever I have to do to get her back together. That is what I do. And so, I even have a, affirmation that I say every day. She speaks and I listen. She remembers and I rise. I am one with the wisdom of my womb, of how you begin to connect with your body, with your womb, and she'll start teaching you and talking to you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate and I honor you for your transparency because we never know how our transparency and our openness can help someone else, right? And you being able to share something personal that you were able to heal through doing that inner work could be just the catalyst for someone else to look a little bit deeper. And I think that of course that is beautiful because it reminds us that everything is even external, but even more so internal is interconnected. When one thing is off, it affects something else that then again affects something else. So what you
Yes.
ingested with that celery then had benefits to the womb work that you were able to do. And I'm sure other full body benefits as well. But then you were also able to look at other connections within your body of how one thing, from the stress of your job, from being around certain people to hearing certain things, you really start to see how it is all connected. We really cannot compartmentalize our healing. We have to work through it in an integrative approach to healing our body because it's not just the symptoms. We want to get to the root cause of what's happening and going on. And so
Yes.
with that being said, people that come to you or people that may be watching today, this may be new for them, right? And they may not understand or fully grasp the interconnectedness. And so they come in with misconceptions.
Excuse me.
No, I have this womb issue. It is a physical issue. It is not related to emotional, mental, spiritual, or sexual health or any in that type of way. Just give me the meds or tell me what it is that I need to do. Right. And so, what are some of the misconceptions people have about this healing practice and what it is that you do?
Well, I think that we can get caught up in addressing symptoms, right? As opposed to looking at root causes of symptoms. And I think that I'll just say this. I always make my clients aware of the fact that the reproductive system, the womb itself is connected to your vagus nerve. Vagus nerve is like that lifeline of your entire nervous system, and again, so if you're in the fight or flight mode and, you know, you're not able to your body is not able to be in rest and repair and heal itself mode, the systems are breaking down. How do you not see the connection? How do you not see and now at this point, I'm just not talking about womb healing, but just I didn't sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah, how do you not see okay, yeah, I lost my train of thought.
How do you not see the connection
Yeah,
between what's happening in your womb space and the symptoms that are the symptoms within your womb space and everything else that's pretty much going on inside of you and the external things that are happening?
yes, and again and now, I do not say, that we are replacing medical attention, right? But again, I mean, if you are just going to address a symptom, then isn't it much more likely if you don't ever get to the root cause of the symptom? That's as far as I'll go with that. So I have to
And
come back to
so No worries. And so I have spoken with other healers. I have spoken with other shamans and practitioners who do this work. Breath work comes up a lot. Yoga comes up a lot, especially in womb work and healing work. And of course, there are so many other modalities that we discuss and we talk about: sound healing, energy healing, Reiki. But breath work is one of the ones that I feel is at the top of the list that many practitioners really encourage their clients to work through, talk through, and really embrace, because we don't pay attention to how much we hold our breath. Right? We don't really pay attention a lot of times to how our shoulders are up here, how we are not really breathing through our belly. We're taking very shallow breaths. And we don't give enough credit to the power of what a wonderful deep breath can do in a moment of challenge, in a moment of fear, in a moment of despair. How taking a deep breath can truly help to reset you, even if it's just for a moment. And so, how can people cultivate a daily ritual that really honors both movement, with you being a comedic yoga instructor, as well as that inner alchemy? What are some of the suggestions that you give to your clients once they leave a session with you so they can continue on with a daily practice?
I do say it depends on the client for sure. Um, as
Of
I
course.
have, yeah, I have some like, especially it seems like the younger ones, they have the Apple gadgets, and
Mhm.
I say, why don't you use that? It even has like a little mode on there that says, stop, just take a breather, So I have, them use that reminder, stop every now and again and take a breather. But yeah, so other practices, that could help throughout the day. Well, one is that, I tell my clients, when you first wake up, if you could just remember to say, well, how can I be more devotional to myself today? How can I be more devotional to myself today? Or how can I be more present today with myself? Just ask that question. Start your day off with that question. How can I be more present with myself? Because here it is. Really, if we were to practice deep, consciously controlled breathing 20, we would transcend in magnanimous ways. But the thing is, the day keeps getting away from us. We keep getting distracted. So it's how do you have these reminders? It's basically down to how are you going to remind yourself to be more present because what happens is when you start to embody, it becomes easier and easier to be more present. When you start to set your boundaries, it becomes easier and easier to be more present. And when you get used to the breath work, as we continue to practice together, it becomes easier and easier to breathe. But until then, how can you actually remind yourself, right? So that is usually what do you call it? That's the challenge. Remembering to breathe, right? And so, of course, if you can remember, if you can see yourself being triggered, of course, okay, take a moment to breathe. I also say, if you can just ask yourself throughout the day, what's the rush? Why am I brushing my teeth so fast? Oh, a good one. Why can't are you looking at yourself in the mirror, or are you looking past yourself? Or are you even looking at Oh, those sorts of things. Even pinch yourself. Just something to bring yourself back to this moment. And also remind your mind, you don't have to fight so much. We not try, through our classes and through the work that we do, we are guiding ourselves into a level of surrender and flow. So I think my method is the asking of the questions. How can you continue to, throughout the day, ask yourself again, why am I rushing? How important is that I'm thinking about, um, priority levels? How important is this? Or can this wait? Or how do I feel right now?
For sure. You have given us so many gems today. You have not only provided us with education, but you have provided us with a moment where we can actually pause in order to connect the dots. What I hope people take away is that everything is interconnected. Maybe you spiraling to a deeper place will allow you to be the best version of you. And so, what is something that you would love for people to take away? If you don't get anything else from this,
I would say that, guys, your bodies are alive. They are alive. Your cells are alive and intelligent, right? And that being the case, how are you treating your body? It's always listening and it's always going for you. It's always moving. It's always so how are you treating your body? Are let's get up and go. We have to do this. We have to do this. We have to do that. We can't sit down and just think about how many times your body has held back the pain for you while you did what it is you were needing to do that you felt like you were so required to do, and you put your body to the side. Or how many times has it held your tears? How many times has it held your dreams so that it can go and fulfill someone else's? When is it going to get its chance? When are you going to give her the love and and not saying that we don't, but how much more so could we? And how much more, what is there that's inside of us that, has been waiting to come out via our bodies again, and our cells hold billions of years of information. This is science proves this, this is, now it's common knowledge. So all of these ancestral codes, instructions, yes, all of this information, the junk DNA that they call it junk DNA, what really is that could be activated by us coming into alignment with ourselves, with our bodies, listening more to what is there, what could be brought forth. So I would say that, it's time for us to start listening to our bodies. And why the womb so much more is because it's the cosmic creatrix. It's the bridge between worlds. It's the bridge between spirit and matter. You know what I'm saying? We know this. There are eggs there, right? And then there's spirit that comes and animates these eggs. So again, that's the cosmic creatrix. So being in alignment and attunement with her, what will that bring forth out of you? And then, and also I just lastly wanted to say the tangible, the measurable results that, the work that we do, some of the tangible and the measurable results. We're talking increased sensation, embodied pleasure, greater magnetism and creative flow, ease with manifestation and receiving prosperity, freedom from inherited lineage wounds, clarity concerning your soul's path, and greater capacity for ecstatic, empowered birth experiences, amongst others. So those are the results. So that's what I would leave.
we love it and we receive that so much. How can people work with you? How can we find you? What are your socials, your website? Because I'm sure that after listening to this, there will be people that want to do more work with you. And not only that, I believe in a sense of community and support.
Mhm.
And I think that it's extremely important that we are able to cheerlead and continue to encourage and support and follow your journey as you not only continue to heal yourself, but you continue to pour into the world with your talents and your gifts. And so drop all your contacts. I'll make sure it's in the description
Okay.
of your episode when it drops.
Awesome. So my website is www.heartsoulstudios.com. You can also email me at info@heartsoulstudios.com. I have an Instagram page. It's The Beautiful Healer.
Before we close out, there's always one question that I'd love to ask our guests. And that question is with all of your lived experience, everything that you've been through, you've seen, you've felt, what would you tell little Angel today?
I love her so. You're safe now. Rest here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Angel, for being here today. Thank you for all that you do in your community. Thank you for all that you are doing for women. and families, because we know that the work can be challenging at times, but we know it is work that is needed in order for us not only to heal ourselves, the women around us, but more importantly, our community, the world at large, so that our babies can have bright futures. We know how early it starts. And so you are out here doing some amazing work. And so we want to continue to honor you and appreciate you, support you, and love on you during this journey that you continue to do, because it is so necessary and so needed. Thank you for watching today, and we will see you in the next episode.
All
Peace.
right.